All right, so it's Friday, and the pattern with our weather is going to change a little bit in that we will be warming up into the 70s. What isn't changing with the weather as we turn into the weekend is the onshore winds, and that's going to help to kick up some pesky showers every so often. That'll just be around. Not a significant amount of rain at all this weekend, but maybe just enough to interrupt what you have going outdoors for a few minutes here and there. So keep an ear on the radio. The First Alert forecast will keep updating the rain potential as you move through the weekend, and keep an ear on 104.5 FM into next week. The all-important Thanksgiving week forecast, whether you're traveling or you're going to be welcoming in loved ones, and what you have to get done at work, maybe if you're going to be taking Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off. We'll have you covered first thing in the morning, starting at 5 with the First Alert forecast every 6 minutes. Top national story on Jacksonville's morning news is the latest attempt by the Trump administration to overturn the results of the election in multiple states, as we have seen nearly every federal or state court reject the claims that have been made so far by the Trump legal team led by Rudy Giuliani. Washington insider Jamie Dupree continuing to push that storyline forward as we work to end the week. The development that happened on Thursday was that Georgia had finished the recount, and Joe Biden did finish ahead of President Trump by just over 12,200 or so votes. And so now what happens is a 5 p.m. deadline for the Secretary of State to certify that, and then Saturday is the next deadline for Georgia's governor to do so. And into next week, the next deadline comes as we see other certifications in places like Michigan and elsewhere. So we're moving forward with that process while the Trump legal team continues to fight through courts like Pennsylvania and in Michigan and even in Georgia. We'll continue to update the story for you throughout the day and stay connected throughout the weekend. If you were here earlier in the week, you heard about the deadly officer-involved shooting during a West Side traffic stop. On San Juan and Cassett, an 18-year-old, Devon Gregory, killed. What's happened over the last 24 hours is really noteworthy on a couple of levels. One is Sheriff's Office has released body-worn camera footage 2 days after the shooting, which is pretty much unheard of. It's the earliest that I can recall that they have released that. The reason why they said they did, and the insight that we're getting, is that the medical examiner says that the 18-year-old suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And within that video, it certainly appears as though that is the case after multiple minutes of the officers working to try to get Gregory out of the vehicle. Something was happening, and that's still to be determined ultimately through the investigation. Where the medical examiner and the sheriff's office stop short right now, because the investigation is still unfolding, is whether that potential self-inflicted gunshot wound was the wound that ultimately took his life, or it was one of the many shots that the officers fired after that self-inflicted gunshot wound. So a lot that we're going to still piece through over the coming days and weeks likely, but a significant development in that story as it moves forward into the next phase. We'll continue to keep updating here on Facebook. Be listening to 104.5 FM. Stay safe this weekend. Look out for yourself, one another, and your family members, and especially check in on those neighbors who may be a little more vulnerable, and have a safe weekend.